Can you give me a vector deploy or a heading deploy? I'll continue on with the exercise anyway.
Outcome 3, no problem. Make it a right turn, heading 130. Intercept Victor 64 from Limbo to Seal Beach, and then resume navigation.
Right turn 130, intercept Victor 64 from Limbo to Seal Beach, and then resume our navigation. .com 3.
United 809 traffic, 10 o'clock, 5 miles southbound, 4,600, indicated type unknown.
Back .com 3, I'm going to disconnect and start that one again, thanks.
Okay.
North Las Vegas ground radio check.
Loud and clear. And who was calling?
It's a Diamond 6750 hotel. We're at Lone Mountain Aviation looking for a Bravo transition to the south towards Henderson Airport if possible, and we have echo.
What was your call sign?
6750 hotel.
6750 Terror Base, correction, North Las Vegas ground. I have your request. What's your aircraft type and destination airport?
It's a Diamond DA62 and looking to go to Henderson Executive.
Skyhawk 648 Charlie Romeo, holding short of runway 34. Bullhead Tower, Skyhawk 648 Charlie Romeo, short of 34.
468 Charlie Romeo, Bullhead Tower, runway 34, clear for takeoff.
34, clear takeoff, 648 Charlie Romeo.
46750 Tail, I can't get you a Bravo clearance off the ground here. However, I can get you flight following, and departure can get you that clearance as he's able to.
All right, so I'll contact Las Vegas departure when I'm in the air and ask for that request 50 hotel.
46750 Tail, yeah, I'll get you departure frequency and squawk code, but just remain outside the Bravo airspace for now.
Roger that. I'll take the frequency and squawk code, and I'll do all that in the air. We'll remain outside the Bravo.
SoCal approach, Skyhawk 2208 at 1,900, climbing 6,000.
Bakersfield Tower, 122 Whiskey Mike, holding short.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Glad you can make it on this early morning flight. Getting out of here early this morning because I got some stuff I got to do this afternoon. So, just a little short, brief thing about last week. Our hairy landing into Blythe. If you recall, we came up from the southwest after we followed I-10. Came down this way. Came up. Entered into downwind. Turned base. Turned final. And landed on runway 26. And if you recall, when we were on base, shortly before we turned final, all of a sudden my nose went up in the air and I almost lost control of the airplane. I figured it was just a wind gust come along, but a little bit further investigation, you can see that this is marked a power plant. It says avoid direct overflight. A little bit more investigating. This is the airport information page for Blythe. And we go down to the remarks, and I've already got it highlighted here. Power plant 1 mile east of airport producing thermal plumes. Avoid low altitude direct overflight of the power plant. Well, I imagine that's probably what happened. And I hit that thermal plume, and my plane shot up in the air vertically like a hot air balloon. Luckily, I was able to regain control before it got too hairy. This is a satellite image of Blythe. We came up from the southwest, turned on downwind, turned on base, turned on final, and right there's the power plant. So I'm sure that's what happened. Need to pay more attention to things like that when I'm planning my route. So we're going to fly to Needles, California today. It's about 100 miles up the Colorado River. So we're going to be flying out of here. We're going to be going east till we get to the Colorado River and Arizona state line. And then we'll follow the river north for about 90 miles till we get to Needles. So we're parked right here. We're taxiing down here and taking off runway 26. Make a left crosswind a left downwind, making sure we stay south of the freeway because we don't want to get near that power station again. And we're going to follow I-10 to the east until we get to the Colorado River. Then we're just going to make a left turn and go north, follow the river. Follow the river. Luckily a boat or a car would have to follow all these little curves, but an airplane can just fly straight. So we'll just keep going north. Follow the river, follow the river. Until we get to Needles. And at some point we're going to see a dam up here. Yeah, here's Parker Dam. This opens up into like a lake. And then we're gonna turn left and follow the river this way. I think I went too far with this. Yeah, I think I went too far up here, so anyhow, we'll go as we're coming up Colorado River. We're going to get to a point where we see two airports. Lake Havasu, and or something reservation. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that one. But it'll be one on the east and one on the west. With a river going right in between them. So at that point, we know that we're getting close to Needles. So we stay on the west side of the river. Head off in this direction. And there's Needles. Gonna come in from this direction, fly straight into runway 29. Come down, taxi off. Come down. This is the parking area. Okay. Now that we got the map overview thing done, nothing left to do now but jump in the airplane. So, climb on in, welcome aboard. Enjoy the flight. Hope you brought some snacks. So, without further ado, let's jump in the plane. Let's get that window open. Open the fuel valve. Turn the battery on. Fuel pump for 5 seconds. The needle moves. There it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct throttle. Clear prop. Pressure's rising. Alternator on. Battery's charging. Avionics on. We're just going to program this for a direct flight in case we get lost. Got something to reference. Shouldn't need it. Simple as following the river. There we go. Straight north. .69 miles as the crow flies. Blythe here, get our frequencies. Weather is 120.17, Unicom is 122.80. So 122.80, 120.17.
Kilo, Bravo, Lima, Hotel, automated weather observation, 1748 Zulu, wind 240 at 3, visibility greater than 20 miles, sky condition, few clouds at 7,100, 17,600 scattered, temperature 12 Celsius, dew point 1 Celsius, altimeter 3000. Kilo, Bravo, Lima, Hotel, automated weather observation, 1748.
These set. This is the heading bug set to the runway at this airport, and this arrow is set for the runway at Needles. Gives me a reference to the direction. Alright, temperature needles starting to move. We can go ahead and taxi. Parking brake off. Brake test. Yep, they squeak. Alright, we'll go ahead and taxi to the runway. Here's the taxiway. Yeah. I'll go ahead and get my other views here, my cardinal views. Make sure nobody's coming. Flaps up. Don't want to take off with them. There's Bravo. We don't want it there though. We want to go all the way down to the end. Always want to use as much runway as you can. The only useless runway is what's behind you. And we'll sit here and do our run up. Alright, let's see. Temperature's in the green, pressure's in the green. Cylinder head temps in the green. Alright. Mixture to rich. RPM to 1800. Pressure is good, vacuum's good, charge is good, and full pressure. Alright, first thing we're going to do is check the mags. Make sure both sets of mags work, magnetos. So, we're going to turn this key in and we're going to shut off the left mags. Make sure this doesn't drop more than 100 RPM. Alright, left mag. Alright, 100, about 50 drop. Back to both. Right mag. About 50 RPM drop. Back to both. Check the charge. Make sure it's working. Flip the landing light on. Yep. Turn it off. Cycle the prop. Watch for the RPM to drop. Does back to full. Check the oil pressure, make sure it drops and recovers. Pull back. Yep. Full prop. Check the manifold pressure, make sure it rises. Pull back. Yep. Back to both. Pull the throttle back to stop, idle stop, make sure the engine don't quit. good. Back to 1,000 RPM. Alright, landing light on, strobe light on. Blythe traffic, Cessna 7365 Whiskey, taking off runway 26 for left downwind departure, Blythe. Sit here for a second. Alright, let's do this. Rock and roll. Airspeed 40, 50, 60, rotate. Knots. There's 700. Blythe traffic, Cessna 7365 Whiskey, turning left crosswind, Blythe. There's crosswind. There's freeway. Blythe traffic, Cessna 7365 Whiskey, turning left downwind, Blythe. Throttle back a little bit. Down to in the green on the manifold pressure. Go back to about 22 on the prop. Level off at about 3,000. There's that power plant that I flew over. There's 3,000. Tight nose down. bit. Getting way above 3,000. This off some more. Pull back on the throttle to get this down to 20. And pull back on the prop to get this down to 2,000. Pull back on the yoke a little bit, get the nose up. And there's the river. Alright, California on your left, Arizona on your right. A little bit hazy up here, not too bad. I said it was about 20-mile visibility. Just follow the river. I forgot to shut these dang windows again. It's much quieter. Bump up the throttle a hair so we quit descending, getting away from 3,000. So today we're going to talk about indicated airspeed versus true airspeed versus ground speed. The difference between indicated airspeed and true airspeed is the altitude and temperature. As you go further away from the ground, the air gets thinner. And as the air gets thinner, the air going in this pitot tube is less dense and therefore makes the airspeed indicator a little bit inaccurate. In other words, at 3,000 feet, are we going 126 miles an hour, or 126 knots? Or are we? Well, to find out, we have to zoom in here a little bit. And we're at 3,000 feet. And the difference between 3000 and 2992 is only about 100 feet. So we're just gonna say we're at 3,000 feet. Get this thing turning a little bit. So that's what this window and the knob does. So this is the outside air temperature in Celsius at 7 degrees. Each one of these tick marks is 10 degrees. So we're at 3,000 feet. This is 0, this is 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So we're going to take this knob, we're going to turn it, and we're going to put 3,000, that line between the 2 and the 4. We're going to put that at almost the first white tick mark, which is plus 10 degrees Celsius. So now we got the 3 lined up with the 7 degrees. Let me just turn a little bit there. Now that we got that lined up, then instead of being 126 on the green scale, now we're looking at the white scale, and we're actually doing about 137 knots. So that's our true airspeed at 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet, we're doing 137. A little more than what they indicated is because of this difference. That's the difference between indicated and true airspeed. Now for ground speed, you have to take into consideration the air mass, the direction that the air mass that's moving, the direction of the air mass that we are moving through, which direction that air mass is moving. So we're flying almost to the north, so if the air was coming from the back, it would increase our ground speed. If the air is coming from the front, it would decrease our ground speed. So, a couple ways of finding that out. Find out where the air is coming from, do a bunch of math calculations and a little bit of trigonometry, or we can just go to our GPS and it'll tell us ground speed's 136, which tells me that there's really no air movement up here to speak of. So ground speed and true airspeed is about the same number, so therefore it must be pretty calm out there. Air's not really moving at all. Alright, there's your flight lesson. There's your flight lesson for the day. River's taking a turn to the right here, so we'll swing this way a little bit. Turn landing light off, I guess. Should have done that a long time ago. That's what checklists are for. Guess I need to start making one and using it. We'll look up the frequencies at needles. 128.32 is the weather, and 123.0. So 128.32 and 123.0. .32
Kilo, Echo, Delta, automated weather observation, 1817 Zulu. Wind 241 at 4. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition 17,000 scattered. Temperature 12 Celsius. Dew point -3 Celsius. Altimeter 3000. Kilo, Echo, Delta, automated weather observation, 1817 Zulu. Wind 241 at 4. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition 17,000 scattered. Temperature 12 Celsius. Dew point -3 Celsius. Altimeter 3000. Kilo Echo.
Alright. That's the weather at Needles. Which we're quite a ways off yet. We're 41 miles away. Don't see very many green lines on those houses. A lot of sand for yards, I guess. This side's got all the green. It's the Arizona side. You would have thought if you wanted green grass, you live in Arizona. Back to what I was talking about last time with my flight sim and my Commodore. I had that thing for years. I thought it was so awesome. I had a couple little Atari joysticks hooked up to it and a little 13-inch TV, little portable TV hooked up to it. And back then we had what was called a modulator box, and you hooked it up to the antenna inputs on the TV. Yeah, we didn't have cable inputs back then. All we had was antenna. You hook it up to the antenna inputs and you could choose between channel 3 or channel 4 that you wanted to have to set your TV to. And the reason you had a choice was because if there was a nearby station on one of them channels, then it would interfere with your whatever you were plugging in, Atari or Commodore. Or that's really about all we had back then. Didn't have too much plugged into a TV. So you would plug that in and it would draw whatever your computer was doing on your TV. So that was my monitor, little 13-inch color TV. And I used to spend a lot of time flying. It came with a couple little maps with VORs and NDBs. I think there was a Chicago area, a Miami area, a New York area, and an LA area, and a Seattle area. And so you had all these little maps, and they pretty much even back then corresponded to real life frequencies, because that was something FSX did back then, was Flight Simulator did back then, was pretty much tried to copy it, but the graphics was crude compared to today. Oh my, graphic was so crude. But I would spend 2 hours flying. I'd have a friend that used to come over and we'd sit there and I'd take off from an airport after planning this trip and the different headings and stuff that we had to take. And I'd fly for a couple hours. We'd get to the airport and we'd land and I'd crash. I wasn't too good at landing back then. I'm still kind of rusty at it, but I managed to get it down on the wheels these days, which wasn't always the case back then. Alright, we're just following along the river here. Should be getting to the dam pretty soon. I think I see it right there, Parker Dam. Yep, that's Parker Dam. That's the reservoir behind it. Stay over the river here. Avoid these rocks sticking up out of the ground. Rocks are popping up out of the ground. I hate it when that happens. Especially when they pop up right in front of you. It can ruin your day. It's like when you're running through the forest and that tree pops up right in front of you. It's over. Parker Dam. Oh. Must be getting some turbulence off of these mountains here. Okay, come on, settle down, airplane. See, it says we're doing 130, but we're actually doing 140. Yeah, we should be seeing a couple airports up here pretty soon, one on each side. Should be coming up in here somewheres. Yeah, I think I see one of them right there. Havasu. That means the other one will be over here somewheres. That reservation, however you pronounce it, something reservation. When you see things from the air, you can really see how the land is just eroding off the rock of the mountains with the rain over the centuries. The other one should be over here somewhere. Boats down there. Yeah, I think that's it right there. Yeah, that's it. Right there. It's right there. And right there. Yep. There. And where'd you go? Guess that's it right there. You can't always go by the landscape as to whether you're flying level or not, because that looks like we're not. If you look down here, we are. That's why you can't go by the landscape, because if you level that off, now we're turning. Gotta rely on this. Now that we've passed those two airports, we need to start watching up this way, probably past these mountains. Will be needles. Forget now, this isn't pointing to the airport. This is only giving me a reference to the runway itself. So it's not telling me where the airport is. By no means. It's just telling me that when I find it, that's going to be the runway heading. As we get past these mountains, we'll be about 10 miles to the southeast. And we'll make our first radio call from about 10 miles out. Field elevation is just under 1,000 feet. Traffic patterns about 1,000 feet above that, so almost 2,000 feet. We'll cheat and look at our GPS. 12 miles out. miles. So, airport's going to be over in this direction. Needles traffic, Cessna 7365 Whiskey, 10 miles southeast, inbound for full stop, runway 29, Needles. And it's going to be up this way. That's it right there. Yep, that's it. Pull back on the throttle a little bit. Drop it down to about 17 inches of manifold pressure. That's this one right here. Gonna drop down to about 2,000 feet. Miles. Needles traffic, Cessna 7365 Whiskey, 5 mile final, runway 29, full stop, Needles. Pull back to 15 inches. First notch flaps. Needles traffic, Cessna 7365 Whiskey, short final, runway 29, full stop, Needles. Alright, second notch flaps. Not bad. Even close to the center line. Alright, flaps up. Taxi down here to the end, roll off to the right. Needles traffic, Cessna 7365 Whiskey Clear, runway 29, Needles. Alright, clean up the aircraft, landing light off, strobe light off, cowl flaps open, lead for ground. Alright. Guess you will taxi to the ramp. Welcome to Needles, California. Got a weird shadow on this windshield. See that? Open the window. Across the other runway here. Turn our strobe light back on across the runway. Strobe light on. Hold short line, strobe light off. Turn in here. Love how that building just appeared like that. Boom. Alright. Coming up to our stop. Alright, parking brake. That was a fun flight. Took us about an hour, a little over an hour. 10:50, not even 11 o'clock yet. Good. Alright, get this thing shut down. Let's go to our other view here. Avionics off. Make sure to cut off. Magneto's off. Alternator off. Battery off. Cowl flaps closed. Fuel valve off. Control lock on. Door open. Alright. I appreciate y'all coming along. I'm going to hang out here for a while. I hear there's a pretty good restaurant here. I'll go grab me some lunch or brunch or something. All I had for breakfast was a couple cups of coffee. So I gotta go inside. Get this plane button up first. Well, you're free to do what you want. Could help me button it up if you want, but with that said, till next time, be safe, be happy, blue skies. See you next time. Bye.
St. Louis Tower, Power 326, Mike Charles on short 29.
Chris 118 Whiskey, Las Vegas ground, cross runway 1 and our left at Bravo, cross runway 1 and our right at Bravo, and they'll be in TBM pulling out just at the Whiskey to join hotel for runway 1 and our right.
We'll cross 19 left at Bravo and 19 right at Bravo, 8 Tango Whiskey.
My current ground, Delta 213, India, taxi 19 left.
Moody 3 Mike Sierra, movement to the altitude, climb maintain 9,000.
Climb maintain 9,000, Mooney 123
Las Vegas ground 2424 Alpha Sierra. You want me to take hotel all the way down to the end and then turn on Fox, or hotel to Fox at Whiskey or Sierra?
24 Alpha Sierra, no, you're good on hotel all the way at the end unless you just want the inside taxiway.
Alright, affirmative 24 Alpha Sierra.
Delta 213 Las Vegas ground, would you prefer runway 19 left or runway 26 right for departure?
Delta 213, we'll take 19 left.
Delta 213, runway 19 left, taxi via Delta.
We'll take Delta 19 left, 13.
Eclipse 8 Whiskey, correction, Eclipse 8 Tango Whiskey, that TBM should be no factor, he's north of Whiskey now, on hotel.
Santa Monica Tower, Skyhawk 365, Sierra Papa, and runway 21 ready for takeoff.
Skyhawk 365, Sierra Papa,